All right. When you are dealing with the video camera and you're dealing with a tape-based camera, one of the things that you need to keep in mind is video power, or the power of your video camera is very important. So one of the things you absolutely have to do, guys, is you absolutely have to have the AC plugged in. Okay, that's just the only thing that really matters. You've got to have this plugged in, okay, the AC cord. So what you need to do is you need to find the DC in plug on these little blue cameras. It's right on the back, okay? So you're going to plug that in, and then you get to plug in, find the nearest plug that's near your computer and plug the camera in so that it's not running on the batteries. That's very important. The next thing you've got to do is you've got to find the port where the firewire goes on the camera. It's always going to be the little end, okay, that's on the camera. They're usually hidden, okay, underneath like these little plastic doodads, okay. So on this one, it's on the side here, okay. And then you can plug that in. It only goes in one way. See, you don't want to force it. And then you're going to take the other end of the firewire, and this end you've got to take and put back behind on the back of the computer. There's only one port that this fits into, so it's actually pretty easy. Now you've got Final Cut Pro open. You've got it all set. You need to take the camera and you need to set it to play. Nice and simple. It turns on. It's also good to kind of open up I like to open up the window and fold it back against the camera like this so that I can see it. Okay, and then I just put it to the side, and you don't have to touch the camera at all for the rest of this process. Okay, turn the camera off. We don't need it now for the rest of it. Now I'm open in Final Cut Pro here, so there's a couple of procedures that you're going to need to do that I think are going to be rather important. Number one is I think it's good before you start capturing anything. I think it's very important to actually name your project. And one of the reasons why this is important is because by naming your project, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be placing the files that you're going to be recording into a folder in the Capture Scratch on the hard drive that is the right name. If you start capturing stuff before you save the project, then it just goes in a folder called Untitled. Woohoo! And if you need to find them later on, you might have some problems because it's going to be like Untitled 1, Untitled 2, Untitled 3. You know, you see what I mean? So it's just best to just right now save the project as, and you're going to go to the Penn Media FS. You're going to go to Media Students. You're going to find your folder, and I want you to save it in here. In my case, I go to Media Staff, and I'm going to go in here. And one of the things you'll notice that I've done here is I have a Final Cut Pro Projects folder. And that projects folder is just all of my project files that are dealing with Final Cut Pro. These are the save files. So I'll just call this, recording, how about downloading demo 1, okay? There we go. I've got it saved. And now I'm ready to start recording my video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the File menu. I'm going to go to Log and Capture. Not log and transfer. That's for a high-def camera that works off of a hard drive. But log and capture. Log and capture is for a camera that has a tape drive. Most of you guys use the tape drive cameras. Now some of you have the flash drive cameras, and we're going to deal with those in a minute. But for the tape drive cameras, you're going to go log and capture. And what should happen, it's initializing. And right now, the first test of what's happening here is right at the bottom. It should say VTR OK. But right now it says no communication. I have a funny feeling that's because my settings are wrong. See my device control? It says non-controllable device. I want to go to FireWire. Now one of the things that you need to really watch out for is HD is for high definition, which I don't think anybody in here has a high def tape camera. If you do, come see me and I'll help you. PAL is PAL, and that's the European standard of video, so we do not want that. It actually has a totally different resolution and frame rate than what we're using, so it would really not work very well with your cameras. So we're going to go to FireWire NTSC, okay? And now what you should see is now it says VTR OK. The other thing that, whoops, no, that was the wrong button. is to go to your clip settings, and you see right here it's asking you to, or do you want to capture video and audio? And the answer is yes, usually you want to capture both. But the other thing that I think is really important is to toggle this. Because what this is, hold on a second, I'll answer questions a little bit. This right here toggles your stereo or your mono. You do not want mono, you want stereo. So you want to click this so there's two lines here. Once you do this, it should stay this way. So you really only have to set this up once. Make sure your your device control is set. Excuse me. Make sure your clip settings are set, video, audio, and that these are linked. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. So now I click on the logging tab, and now I'm going to start logging my clips. The first thing I need to do is rewind my tape. And you can control the camera with these buttons right here. So the camera is rewinding right now because I clicked on it here. This is actually Rachel's tape, so I don't know anything that's on it quite yet. But we'll go through it. So I'm going to hit play here. And one of the things that you're going to notice is you see this time code right up here on the right. It goes in seconds and frames. So since there's 29 frames a second, or 30 frames a second really, 29.97, this is going to be like 15 frames is a half a second and so on and so forth. Okay, it's pretty easy. You also have a forward control where you can click on this and scooch it forward and it will move it forward like frame by frame. Okay? And if you move it faster, it goes faster. Okay, you can go backwards. You can also do the same thing here. Be patient. If you go in reverse, it literally has to shift gears, guys, before it can go in reverse. So you don't, if you click it and then it doesn't go in reverse immediately, that's okay. It's going to take a second, so don't freak out. And what people will do is they'll go like this, and then it goes zoom all the way to the end. See, it shifts gears, and then boom, now you're gone. Oops. So anyway, what we're going to do is we want to chop up our video in nice, orderly packages. Okay, we want to take, a lot of it depends on how much time you've got and exactly how you want to do it. But you can divide it up into very specific individual shots, like our trailer, our Blue Horizon trailer, each shot was really separate and divided up. That's how I like to do it. Or if you have a series of shots that are the same, but just all different takes. Let's say if somebody's standing up, getting out of a chair, and you've got 3 shots of them getting out of the chair from the same angle, you just like one better than the other, capture all 3 of them in one big clip. It doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do is we're going to tell the computer where the clips start and where they end. And the key to all this is right here in the time code. And if this time code gets messed up, then you're in trouble. And it's going to happen to somebody, so we'll deal with that in a little bit. The other thing to keep in mind is that you need at least 5 seconds before you can start to capture. You can't capture anything before those first 5 seconds on the tape, which kind of stinks. But it just needs time to get up to speed before it can capture. So we'll go here. I can actually just type 05 semicolon 00, and it will go to 5 seconds, which is kind of cool, okay? And then down here we have what we call our ins and our outs. And so what I'm going to do is right here, this second button in, if I hover, it says mark in, or you can hit the I key. So I'm going to hit I. That starts me at 5:01. And now I'm just going to watch the film until I get to the end of this shot. Not quite sure what's going on here. The shot may last 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the camera may be on and she doesn't know it. This was a PSA about advertising and like body image and stuff like that. So we'll just say the clip's over for now. Barbie dolls. So now what I'm going to do is once I get the clip to right exactly at the end of the clip, and that can take a little bit of doing. Or you can just fast forward. Let's just fast forward and see. Okay, so here's the clip. Okay, and that was a cut. So let's go back here. Now I want to go back in reverse because I want to take that clip and make it different. So we're going to stop right about. It's going to cut right and somewhere there. All right, so well, that's not it because it was a top shot. Keep going, back. There. Now what I want to do is I want to get to the last frame of this clip. And so this is where I just kind of inch it forward frame by frame here and then put my finger on the O key for out. Whoops, go back. Because you don't want little pieces of another shot in your clips if you can help it. Because if you do that, it can really hurt. Because you'll see a flicker of a new shot come right up. So I'm just going to keep going back. I'm still going backwards. Trying to, at least. These cameras they don't like to go backwards. So if you can help, okay. If you can keep from going backwards, it's better to try and go forwards. There. Out. Okay. And I even saw a 29 flash in here, so I can literally type in a 9. It will get me to that. Okay. Well, nope, it's going to go back again. 27 is good enough. There you go. 3 frames is not going to make much of a difference. Oh, it got to it. Okay. So now I've marked my beginning of my clip and the ending of this clip where she walks in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log this clip. Boom. And I'll just call this posters on the wall overhead shot. Okay? And then you can mark it as good or whatever. Make more notes in here, whatever you need to do. Click. And you're going to notice that a clip now shows up in your timeline. But here's the confusing part for a lot of people. We haven't recorded it yet, guys. It's not on the computer yet. What we're doing is we're just recording the beginning time and the ending time. Does that make sense to everybody? That's all we're doing is recording the beginning and the ending. Now, I'm going to do one more clip, and then I'll show you how we can record these clips and get them started. So the next clip is obviously going to start just another frame or 2 from now. So I'm just going to use the shuttle here, and I'm just going to go forward a frame. There we go. And actually, this isn't a great, I think this shot only lasts like a split second. So we'll go forward slowly. There. Okay, so go back to 01, because that's where I saw 01 flash in there really quickly. It's going to reverse. Watch the time code. 01 is good. Okay, so now I'm going to start my in on this new clip. Click. Okay. And now I'm going to play. And it looks like she's tearing this off the wall. Okay, now I'm going to stop it. There, she tore it off the wall. So I'm going to go back. Now you can see how this is kind of a time-consuming process, right? I mean, it really does take a little bit of time as you're trying to, okay, 14. Let's try, so I'm going to go in here and just go to 12. And I think that'll be good. Typing in the code here really helps a lot when you're trying to back up. It's reversing. You can hear it shifting gears. Oh, it really doesn't like that. Let's try 10. This would be one of the major differences that I found in a cheap $250, $300 camera and say a $3,000 camera that uses the same tapes is the gearing and the drives. So let's say this is good enough. I'll hit my out button. Sometimes if I want to, I'll go forward frame by frame using the arrow keys and just click the out button in rapid succession until, oh, okay, so now I'm good. So now I'm going to log my clip. We'll call this posters on the wall, and we'll call this over the shoulder. And then maybe I'll put tear down, so I know that she's tearing it down. Do you see what's happening? And it's logging in the ins and the outs times for each clip. And then we're going to record them. So now all I do, and here's the thing, it'll take you a whole period just to record them all. So the important thing now is to save my project file. Let's say the period's about to end. I haven't recorded my clips, I've only recorded the times. So now what I'm going to do is, let's just say it's the end of the period. Okay, good to go. I've recorded 15, 20, 30 clips. I'm going to save my project, and then I close. Now when I open this back up again, you'll see that these are here. If I double click, it says media offline. That means I haven't recorded it from the camera yet. So now what I'm going to do is I can highlight these clips in my browser, right click on them, and I can batch capture. Batch capture is how we're actually going to record the clips. So now I'm just going to click OK. Here, make sure those are set. They're ready. And now what it's actually going to do is it's going to take control of the camera, and it's going to rewind the camera to the starting spot, and then in order, chronological order, it's going to start recording them. Here's the really big key though. Your time code has to be consistent. It can't be what we call broken. If at any point in time you notice a time code start back from 0, stop and come see me. Because what's going to happen is, when the camera starts to look for 5 seconds to record, it's 5 seconds and 0 frames, right? When it looks for that, there's going to be 2 of them, because the time code starts from 0. How do you break the time code? By pulling the tape out of the camera, or by stopping playing, rewinding, and not putting it right back where you started from. If you went a little bit beyond where you stopped, okay, then what happens is there's nothing. There's no time code, so the camera assumes that it's the beginning of the next cassette, and it starts the time code over from 0 again. So this is very, very important. Don't ever, ever, ever start recording. If you go back and you watch your clips, that's why I always let the tape go. Like when I'm done a shot, I let the tape go for like 10, 15, 30 seconds at the end there before I actually turn off the shot. And that's why, because I can go back in and I can actually go in and watch, and then I stop the camera before the clip ends, and I actually record over a little bit of that shot because I want it to start at the time code again. If it sees a time code, it'll start where the time code is. If there's no time code there, where it's just blue, okay, and it's just showing you blue, it'll start back at 0. If it starts back at 0, you're in trouble. It won't know what to do, okay? So here we've recorded our first clip, okay, and now it's going to go fast forward and do the second clip, and then so it'll take you probably about a period to log all the clips, and it'll take you another period to record them all, okay. The benefit of this is you have a master tape. The negative of this is the recording process is a little bit more involved than, say, the digital tapes, okay, the digital cameras with the SD cards, okay, or hard drive cameras. But you can see, there we go. Now, this is a normal error. It says the audio rate of your clips is set differently. That's okay. The camera records at 12 bits or 14 bits, and the project is usually set for 16. It's no big deal. That's just a quality issue. So here I'll click OK. I'll take questions in a second. I click OK. I wait a second here. And now notice that the little red lines are gone through the clips. I double click. I've got my clips. I can start to edit them how I want to with ins and outs. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff in the beginning of this clip we don't need. So I can, drag it down here. I can do a rolling edit. Okay, yep, the sequence wasn't widescreen. There we go. Okay, I can edit just like you guys are used to from your trailers. Okay, and now I've got my clips. Now, obviously, you're going to do this for more than 2 clips. I'm just doing this short for the demo. Okay, but that's the way it goes.